How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Farmmi. And you already know this was actually one of the stocks that are meme stocks or short squeeze related that actually ended up finishing green on the day. We already knew how choppy the markets were, but Farmmi showed a lot of strength. We're going to be talking about that inside of the video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance, or what are some levels that we need to look out for going into tomorrow, because it's very key that you have a strategy. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information. This is key. We want to know how vested shorts are in this play by taking a look at the short volume ratio and so forth. And we also have some access to some dark pool data. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. Were institutions loading up on shares today, or were they selling out of their positions? And also what was happening on the retail side as well. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more key details. So let's get to it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for Farmmi. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at 36.38, being up 2.88%. On the low, it tested 36 cents, and then on the high, testing 40 cents. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 280.74 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days being at 378.69 million shares. You can see how that just changed very quickly, so let's just call it 379. So what we could see, there's still a lot of demand for shares because we ended up having high volume on a choppy day inside of the market. So now when we take a look at our chart, we're using the 5-day 5-minute chart. We can see from the RSI down below, it is right around 44.24, so almost near in the middle there. But what we want to do is keep an eye on this price action very quickly here. You can see we are holding down support right at that 36 cent level. We did end up seeing 40 cent as a high on the day, and we talked about this in the previous video that this will be a key area for FAMI to actually pass. Of course, it was unable to do this, having a lot of pressure here, and like I said, the market was very choppy, and this is where we started experiencing pullbacks. We did have some run-ups going back and forth between going to 36 and as well as you could see over here going to 38. So we didn't get a lot of movement what we were looking for. But as far as tomorrow is concerned, you're going to want to see a continuation of it holding up 36 cents, and then we're going to want to see a move where it can get back to the 40 cent level where it was earlier in the morning sessions. And if we're able to do that and gain some momentum, then we can look forward to a move to the upside where we can get all the way up to here to around 42 cent. Like I said, it wasn't too long ago last week where we were testing in that 50 cent range, but you have to make sure if you're going into this play, you need to have a strategy, and you want to see that 36 cent level hold up so you can play that move off the momentum through the upside. So let's see how it goes going into tomorrow. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for Farmmi. So what we can see here for the dark pool short volume, we had 160 million shares. So that is very significant there. I just want to make sure you guys take that into account. And when we take a look at the dark pool short volume ratio being at 51.46%. So very interesting there. And when we take a look at the short shares availability, it is at 6.2 million, updated 4 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow free rate, it is at 15.79%. Now, when we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, so the numbers remain the same from what we covered in the last video for October the 1st close, being at 51.46. So taking this all into consideration and knowing the fact that Fintel is combining what's happening in the dark pool along with what's going on in the open market, this is interesting to see. But one thing we can clearly tell, there is short squeeze potential that's in FAMI. And like I was saying, on my meme stock watch list, these were like, this was the one stock that was green. So there's a lot of strength here. There's a lot of demand here. Let's jump into the order flow. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Farmmi. So we can see here on the inflow, it was at 25.95. And then on the outflow, it was 22.79. So we end up having an inflow day. So on the large, we had 3.23. Then on the medium, we had 16.91. And then on the small, we had 5.81. On the outflow side, we had 3.10. On the medium, we had 14.68. And then on the small, we had 5.01. And keep in mind, this is in the millions. So you can clearly see inflows won in every single category. And when we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for October the 4th, which is today, having the large scale winning out by 127.34. So the numbers are fairly close. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. But like I said, considering how volatile the markets were, I was shocked with Farmmi's performance. I thought it would actually pull back even more, but it didn't. But it just tells us there's a lot of demand for shares and there's a lot of purchasing and buying pressure, and it helps with the stock. And we also did notice this by taking a look at the volume. Yes, the volume isn't what we were normally used to, but considering the data we had, it was pretty good. So now let's jump into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Farmmi, I'm definitely going to continue to keep it on my radar. And part of the reasons being is we saw there was a lot of strong support at that 36-cent level. So if it's able to keep this up in the after hours and as well as going into tomorrow and as well as into the open, then I'm looking forward to seeing a very strong spike. One thing that we clearly noticed though, there is resistance at that 40-cent level. So the moment we're able to gain momentum above it, then we could see some very strong moves to the upside, and it's why I say keep it on your radar. But it's very important that you have a strategy. Don't just jump into this play because you want to be inside of it. That's having greed lead you into a position, and that's not the way you want to go about doing it. You want to make sure you wait for the right setup, and also you want to make sure that there's demand. And you can notice this very quickly when you take a look at, hey, what is the volume looking like in the pre-market? So just taking that in mind and also going on Fintel, we can see this play does continue to have short squeeze potential written all over it. So if we have the buying pressure, we have the volume, and you know, whenever we have a green day inside of the market, there's a lot of bulls and people just want to buy. It's going to bring a lot of attention to the stock, and this is where I can see, hey, we could see moves. But one thing to keep in mind, it is very dependent on the fact of the retail investors. That's what's taking up most of the float for Farmmi. So if you've noticed, hey, there's going to be a lot of selling, look out for it, but making sure that it's bouncing off of those key levels. If you're seeing it starting to rip and make moves to the upside, take a look, see what your setup is like. Is it lining up with your moving averages? What is the MACD looking like? Again, everyone uses different types of indicators, but I just want to make sure before you get into a position, you know exactly what your entry is supposed to be, and you also do know what your exit is going to be. You want to make sure you do not hesitate when it comes to protecting your profits, because like I say, you will never go broke protecting your profits, all right? And if you're going to be holding shares just looking for that move up, then just make sure you're doing your homework and you're doing your due diligence so that plan works out great for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.